Hello, everyone. I just wanted to do a video about AI and what's going on out there. I think there's a bit of AI fatigue in the market at the minute. I think myself and probably some other recruiters out there have seen somewhat of a resurgence on hiring because of AI. I think people thought they were going to get really big gains even really quick, and perhaps they made some cuts and cut some staff that they perhaps regretted afterwards, and then had to rehire, which I'm sure people all like the sound of. By the way, myself included, like I got really excited about AI. We put loads of time into building out various different workflows for a AI sourcing tool, which it does have some benefits and it does work, and there is some use cases where it's pretty cool. But look, I think we all got overexcited, and I just want to explain what I think is going on with AI, and I want to explain why I don't think people need to probably get anxious about it or get worried about it, because I think there's a massive difference between theory and reality. And I think when various different people are building LLMs and building different, basically building different AI models, I think sometimes if they're building them for a certain specific application and they've not actually had extensive experience in that particular area, I think the difference between theory and reality is very, very different. And I'll explain what I mean by that exactly. So I think last time I checked, a really high IQ in the US, roughly 97, 98. Like if you get to 120, 130, like you're up there with gifted. So I've got this vision of like these super intelligent people. I'm going to use recruitment as an example, and they're building different AI models, and they're looking at the theory of something and getting really excited. But the theory and the reality are two different things. I'll give you an example. Like, I'll date myself here a bit, but if I look at recruitment, years ago, just for a younger audience watching, years ago, the barriers to entry to recruit were really high. You had to be able to have the financial means to put an advert, sometimes in a national newspaper, which was heavy money, and it made setting up a recruitment agency really hard. Then job boards came onto the scene, and this somewhat democratized recruitment. It became much easier to recruit, not just as a recruitment agency, but also for employers. Employers can put a job advert up. So the theory behind that is, and it sounds correct, well, why is anyone ever going to pay a recruiter? Because we can just put a job advert up and get access to all the talent anyway. Obviously, it didn't quite go down like that. Then the next big thing, where theory and reality are two very different things, are LinkedIn. To a large extent, we've all got the same data. So hang on a minute, we've all got the same data. So again, you go back to the theory, you go back to these hyper intelligent people creating LinkedIn, and you're like, why would anyone? We've got access to the same. Why is anyone going to pay a recruiter fee? Obviously, we've realized that reality and theory are two very different things. And I think the same can relate to, if you're implementing AI in a SOC, if you're implementing various different iterations of AI in different forms of security. And yes, there's going to be some phenomenal gains and some phenomenal use cases. I'm not saying that AI is a complete fad by any stretch, but what I am most definitely saying is that there is just a difference between reality and theory. And I think sometimes, especially when you've got very, very intelligent people that are building things that, they don't have a deep understanding of the industry that they're building that tool for. I see it all the time with rec tech, recruitment technology, and you can tell it's been built by someone that just has either spent very little time in recruitment or just hasn't headhunted extensively for years on end, because it just doesn't match the reality. So anyway, that's my that's my little my little thing about AI for today. I don't think everyone needs to worry. I think we all got a little bit overexcited, myself included. I think there is some mega use cases. I think overall it is exciting in general, But I just think human nature, human adoption will sometimes slow things down. Some organizations, I won't name them, but some of the larger organizations I've dealt with in the past, to be quite frank, the left arm doesn't always know what the right arm's doing in big organizations, and certain different implementations of various different tech and software that should be quite easy to implement, they struggle with, and it tends to be the larger the organization, the more difficult they find it. I think obviously when an organization gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the bureaucracy that is involved makes it hard for them to be nimble and agile and adapt to new tech quick. So yeah, hope that makes sense. That's my rant about AI. Don't worry, everything's going to be cool, and I hope everyone's having a good day. Cheers.